Thank you very much for all being here. The second Gyan Sangam, which commenced yesterday, has concluded today. The first one, if you recollect, was held at Pune in January 2015. And this Gyan Sangam is an opportunity where heads of banks and the ministry and the RBI extensively interact with each other. And after interacting with each other are able to discuss what are the long-term issues and what are the issues of the moment. What we discussed last year and the challenges that we faced got partly reflected in the actions during the course of the year. Keeping the banks immune from political interference, professionalizing the process of selection of the heads of various banks, both chairpersons and managing directors, constitution of the bank board bureau, getting the best talent from outside. Besides this, the government setting up an expert body to recommend how the public sector banks can also go in for the best recruitment, such as campus recruitment, which is available to private sector banks. The Justice Shah Committee is working on this. Problems of various sectors, as also issues relating to expeditious disposal of contractual disputes. So the various forms of dispute redressal, arbitration, renegotiation, resolving public contract disputes. Now these are all discussions which took place last year in the Gyan Sangam, and it helps us in the government to give a policy direction on basis of some of the suggestions which are accepted. This year, of course, while continuing with that focus, the bankers themselves have also sat in separate smaller groups, discussed certain important subjects which concern them. As also the policies of the government. I think one of the most important issues is that in the current global environment, the banks have to take all the measures in order to clean up their books by effecting recoveries. There is a suggestion for some amendments to the Sarfazi Act. There is also a suggestion with regard to expediting the DRT process by some more amendments in the Act. The Department of Financial Services is working in that direction. It's at a fairly advanced stage. We are anxiously awaiting the report of the Joint Committee on the Bankruptcy and Insolvency Law. That will create a structural and an institutional mechanism which will help the banks as lenders. There are some specific specific decisions which were required to be taken by the government. So from the power sector to the highways, to sugar, to steel, we moved ahead significantly with those decisions. I am not repeating any one of them. And I think amongst the three important subjects, besides these sector-specific decisions, some of which have been already taken, and if more are required, we'll move ahead. The first relates to consolidation of several banks. In the Gyan Sangam, when they met by themselves, have strongly supported the idea. You need strong banks rather than numerically a larger number. And some of them which independently survive and sustain well can sustain as niche banks even in regions. What is the strategy for this consolidation? The bankers themselves have suggested an expert group to immediately go into this issue. We will consider that suggestion. The second, of course, I have already obliquely indicated to you that there are several suggestions with regard to amendments to the Sarfazi and the DRT Acts, at which the DFS is at a very advanced stage of consideration. And the third thing which the government independently is considering, again at a very advanced stage, the whole idea of ESOPs for bank employees. There's been a long-standing demand and it's receiving our active consideration.